Source: My stepmom's daughter is my ex. Hey guys, and welcome to Daily Recaps, presented by Anime Beta. Subscribe and like the video for more upcoming parts and similar juicy Wincest recaps.
In what could only be described as a folly of youth, MC and the main girl Yume became a so-called couple during the 8th to 9th grade. As so many relationships of that age do, it eventually ended poorly, leaving the pair embittered at each other as well as the very concept of romance. But destiny had other plans for them, bringing their parents together into marriage and turning these ex-lovebirds into new step-siblings. At the current timeline, we see Yume and Ms. Yudo were having a disagreement about where they should go. Each had their own idea about the places they want to go, but they couldn't come to a consensus. As their mother walks in, she asks what's going on. They both explains how they were waiting for her at the door. Both of them had an argument before their mother came. So soon after she leaves, they reverted back to their original behavior, disliking each other. Yet, it totally looks like Kaguya-sama, but it's between siblings.
Oh, love me, sister.
After finishing their meal, they go to wash the dishes. Their parents are remarking on how well both of those kids are getting along after they became step-siblings. But their parents don't know that they once dated in middle school. Yume tells our main character that they should avoid anything that might upset their parents or regret their marriage. After that, both of them returns to their rooms. But Yume suddenly knocks on the main character's room and enters. She starts complaining how he keeps calling her first name and wants to change its ways. Our main character disagrees and he says how he should be the older sibling. Both of them continue to debate who will be eldest until Yume decides their fate through a game. They will both agree to keep their relationship a secret and act like typical siblings. So if any of them act like ex-lovers at any time, they have to admit that they are the younger sibling. Suddenly, Yume seems to be captivated by our main character's books. She begins to read them with interest. Our main character realizes that she's trying to antagonize him in a typical way of a normal sibling. When Yume almost tries to open his hidden stash drawer, he panics, stands up, and apologizes to her. He tells her that he couldn't bear fighting with her anymore and he's really sorry for being mean. Yume got taken by his words and remembers their old time when they were dating, and calls by our main character by his first name, and she loses the bet.
Hi out! 兄弟は名字で呼び合わない。
こんなのあなたもアウトでしょ。
いがみ合いたくないって。兄弟なんだから。
Later, at the high school entrance ceremony, they can't pretend to be strangers anymore, since they are in the same school and same class. Oh, did I forgot to mention how they also have the same surname? Hilarious, right? Later, Yume stands out in her high school debut more than our main character. In the class, everyone praised Yume for being perfect. Our main character becomes envious how she got everything better than him. Their teacher arrives and they start the class orientation. Later, several boys pretends to be our main character's friend at school, using him to get closer to Yume. After knowing that our main girl Yume gets angry on his behalf, since our main character was doing literally nothing to get rid of them. Tomorrow morning, Yume wishes to walk to school with our main boy. Being all confused, he says okay and they walk to school together. On the school entrance, some of the boys come to bother him again. She clings to our main boy right on the spot and claims that she has a huge brother complex, so the boys back off and gives up. But later, Yume gets really embarrassed thinking how her boot made contact with his arm. The scene changes to afternoon. It seems like their parents will be coming home late today and they're all alone in the house. Our main character tries to make dinner as he is the only one who can cook. After checking what they have in the fridge, he mentions chicken breast, which reminded Yume of about his clinging to her boot moment from earlier today, making her feel all embarrassed again. While eating, Yume told him to forget everything that happened in the morning. But MC replies saying how he'd already forgotten about it, which infuriates Yume even more. For revenge, she decides to sit by him wearing only a bath towel, tricking him to peeking at her. He spilled his tea after seeing her in bath towel. This almost works, but she goes too far and her towel falls off until our main boy helps her stay covered up. Yume tries to leave, but both of them trips and fell on the sofa together. Suddenly, they have a little moment starting at each other. They forgets about the rules of the game and almost kisses each other. All of a sudden, they got interrupted when their parents arrive. They both realize that situations like this are the reason why they don't like each other anymore.
The next day.
On the day of the fitness test, Kawanami approaches Ms. Yudo and invites him to take a fitness test together. Our MC doubts his intention to become his actual friend. MC then says how he can't get close to Yume like this. Kawanami denies it and points to Yume. MC turns around only to see Yume blush. She kicks MC chair out of embarrassment.
1 hour later.
Later, during the body test, a girl named Minami Akatsuki keeps staring at Yume's bosom. She apologizes and tells her how much of envious she is. Minami is so concerned about her size and wonders when she will hit puberty. Yume tells her how she only hit puberty last year, which surprises that girl. Yume whispers to her about her cup size, and Minami is shocked that she's in D cup. Minami then becomes her hope, an ideal girl she can look up to and feels really encouraged. Later, Minami feels discouraged and unmotivated, while Yume is so concerned since she is not an athletic person. During the fitness test, Yume was shocked when she saw Minami excels at all sports categories. When it was her own turn, she notices Mizuto, who was also doing the fitness test. MC was so weak-minded and suddenly give up. She signs thinking how it's best not to be like him. Later, we see how she got a satisfying result. After finishing the 50 meters run, Yume becomes really exhausted and faints. MC appeared like a badass Kirito right on time and saves her from falling. He tells not to push herself too much. In the infirmary, Minami apologizes to Yume for not noticing her exhaustion. Yume replies saying she didn't mind it. Yume then tells her how bad she was at sports activities, and she doesn't want anyone else to find out about it. Minami is relieved that she feels closer to her than before since she was really hard to approach. Minami teases Yume and feels embarrassed. Minami then wants to call Yume by her name, and they become friends. On their way to classroom, they notice his worrying MC. He then jokes about her having dark circles under her eyes and leaves like a cool bastard. Yume gets pissed saying MC always picks on her like this. Minami says how he really adores her, to which Yume blushes after rejecting that statement. A few days later, we see Yume catching a fever. Minami gets really worried about her and she insists to visit her.
38度。
南落ち着け。入り戸が引いてるぜ。
ちょっと猫みたいに扱わないでよ。
以外はロム線だから。
ロム線？何それ？で、そんなのどうでもいいから。決めた。学校終わったらお見舞いに行く。あからさまにめんどくさそうな顔しないでよ。ここが入り戸くんちか。
言っておくが、いきなり君が来たらあいつもびっくりするだろうから、おとなしくしててくれよ。
On the way to their home, Mizuto tells the fact that they are step-siblings. Upon entering her room, Yume becomes delirious and almost says something embarrassing until she sees Minami beside him. Minami asks Yume if she's hungry, and she tells Irito to help her cook porridge in the kitchen. While cooking, Minami asks Irito some questions about him having a girlfriend. Minami says how she is really good at reading people. Irito feels weird and can't help himself but to avoid answering her questions. Later, Yume gets embarrassed and can't refuse as Minami insists on feeding her the rice pottage. MC was like, WTF?
1 hour later.
Minami feels glad since Yume liked it. Before she took her leave, she tells Irito to take care of Yume and asks a question if there's nothing special about their relationship. MC is like, FK of bitch, and comes back to Yume's room. Yume is back to being shy and asks MC to hold her hand.
Are we doing this again?
Which reminded Kirito of being with her as his girlfriend in the past. He really adored their relationship. Soon after coming back from the flashback, MC notices how Yume starts demanding stuff. He notices how her temperature had already dropped.
そろそろ熱測るぞ。一日中寝ててまだ下がらないって。たちの悪い熱かもしれないだろう。
いや、大丈夫だから。
それを確認するために熱を測るんだろうが、さあ腕上げろ。それじゃあ手握っててくれってあれも。おいこら逃げるな。
今日は大事をとってこのまま寝る。
もう十分寝ただろう。人の優しさにつけ込みやがって。言うべきことがあるよな。
Yume apologizes and MC lets her go because she's still kinda recovering from fever. Before our MC goes back to his room, Yume tells him not to go somewhere without telling her, and MC promises saying okay. A flashback from 6 months ago narrated Yume, showing how she used worship items given to her by our MC. In the present, Yume sniffs his boxers and then, in a state of panic, drops them on the floor and astoundedly questions herself why she did that, fearful that she'll regress to her old introverted self and what consequences would befall her if Kirito found out.
よう、義兄の下着を盗んだ変態妹。
私は変態じゃ。
へえ。だろうが、この変態妹が。
お兄ちゃん。
Yume decides to return them at the best opportunity. When the time comes, Yume sneaks out of her room to return them to Kirito's room, but comes to find out that he had hoped to do the same with her bra. Afterward, the two perform rock, paper, scissors on who goes first for their impromptu family meeting, and Yume goes first. And Yume claims it wasn't her fault. She merely reverted to her old introverted self. Surprised, Kirito asks Yume to explain, and she sheepishly tells him how she used to treasure stuff given by him. Hearing this makes our MC seemingly blush, but he denies the fact. As for his explanation, our main character claims that he believes she wouldn't believe him even if he told her. How Kirito got Yume's bra was he saw it in the dryer after he took his shower, and when he went to pick it up, their father walked in on him. Despite Yume not believing MC, she gives an eerily similar story about she retrieved his boxers. Once they settle everything concerning the altercation between them, MC suggests that they allow a single demand from the other, so long as it doesn't infringe on the other's social norms. Yume agrees to it, which seals the deal.
The next day.
On her way home from school, Yume spots MC with a girl at a restaurant and immediately thinks the two are on a date. What further frustrated Yume was that the girl looked similar to her back when they were dating. The following day, Yume asks Akatsuki about her opinion on it, and she thinks of it as a momentous occasion for main boy Kirito. Later that day, Yume finds an extra pair of shoes at home and believes the shoes belong to the girl, which she saw him with at the restaurant. Hence, Yume contacts MC and had him do a favor for her, so she can confront the girl she suspects is in his room. When Yume believes the coast is clear, she rushes over to MC's room, and before she can open it, MC exits it. A conversation starts between them about the girl Yume believed to be there, which raises concerns about MC's supposed lecherous behavior or whether their house is haunted.
そろそろ説明してよ。結局あのローファーはあなたが連れ込んでた女の子のものってことでしょ。
連れ込んでたは
あ？
僕は疲れてるんだ。わかるだろ。
疲れ？あなた、あの子と部屋で何を？
は？なんで君に説明しないといけないんだ？
MC believes that the whole paranormal incident is related to the same girl that he went to the restaurant with. A flashback reveals that the girl was Akatsuki in disguise, and she wants to marry our main boy, so she can become Yume's sister. Akatsuki then explains all the personal things she'd like to do and experience with Yume when they're sisters. Furthermore, Akatsuki follows him throughout the day straight to his home. Our main boy later contacts Kawanami about this to ask his for any advice. Kawanami tells MC about Akatsuki's immense infatuation and her passion for clinging to things she holds dear, until kaboom. An example of the kaboom was when Akatsuki was in middle school. She had a boyfriend who she was passionately devoted to. In the end, it killed said boyfriend's mood of her and broke up with her. Kawanami suggests that for now, MC stands his ground with Akatsuki and that he does not waver with her. If, however, she becomes too much for him to handle, they'll have to take a more direct approach, which our main boy would want real fast. So Kawanami suggests that MC have Akatsuki give up her interest in Yume and suggests he tell Yume something. Later, MC visits Yume's room, and he decided to use his penalty for the underwear case, which was to invite her cute sister, Yume, to a date. Yume was surprised by the sudden invitation by our main boy Kirito, but eventually accepted it.
The next day.
Outside the aquarium, Yume is waiting for Irito. As Yume starts thinking about the rules of their game, our main boy, Irito, shows up dressed as a handsome K-pop idol, which makes Yume get flustered hard. They head inside, and while they're waiting in line, Yume thinks about how they look like a real couple and how Irito is looking like her dream boy that came to life. After Irito buys their tickets, he holds Yume's hand, which makes her confused and flustered. A flashback reveals that Kawanami made a plan to get Manami to stop being obsessed over Yume by letting Manami watch Yume and main boy Kirito be together, which they hope would crush her heart and lose her hopes of marrying into the family. Kawanami had previously told him to always compliment a girl's outfit, and so he tries to compliment her. He accidentally sounds sarcastic while trying to compliment her and thinks he rather messed up with his cringe pickup line. But she rather fell under his OP Kirito-ish charm and gets really embarrassed. He tries to up his game by pulling her towards him, but instead she gave him a piercing glare and a snarky response.
顔近い。いい匂いする。ああ、もう、なんなの今日のこの男は。すごい紳士、優しい。一挙手一投足が私のツボを刺激する。いつまで肩を抱いてるつもり？
ああ、睨まれている。 デートって難しい。
But to her surprise, he didn't say anything and just accepted it. In the restroom, MC calls Kawanami for help since he thinks they look awkward together. But Kawanami leaves it all to him. Meanwhile, outside, Yume got lost because the women's restroom had a long line and she went far away to search for another one. While she was panicking, Kirito called her knowing that she got lost. Yume expected for him to be insulting her. But to her surprise, Kirito says it wasn't your fault in clam voice, making our main girl fall for him ever more. While waiting for our main boy, Yume goes on a flashback about their past when they were still a couple together. It was their first date at a local festival. After Yume confessed to our main boy Kirito, they booked their first date right away. Yume would later get lost at that date, and our main boy Kirito would come to find her like a real show-off. Oh, along with a milk tea on his hand, of course. Also, is it just me, or this milk tea is showing some absolute dominance? Anyways, back to the future. MC is now there to pick up the lost cat and bringing the very same milk tea as he did at the festival. She was surprised to see him acting all nice to her. After that, they goes to the aquarium and had a good time together until the dawn. Oh, I forgot to mention they also had a small fight about mystery novels back at the aquarium. And it makes our main boy Kirito think about their relationship and how it changed over time. After their date, Minami accidentally bumps into MC and apologizes for entering his house without his permission. MC asks if she now intends in backing off, but she jokes how she still plans to marry into the family.
そういえばうちのダイニングテーブルに5つ目の椅子を置いて何してたんだ？
何のこと？
え？
冗談冗談。
おい。
あれはごっこ遊び的な。いや、ほんとごめんね。
Later at home, Yume starts thinking about how her brother has been acting all different. She can't seem to warp her head around about it, and the mystery about those shoes left by the door the other day made her even more confused. Once MC comes home, Yume gets up and takes the opportunity to punish him about the bra stealing incident.
そうそう。いいわ。いいわ。次は頬杖。
こうか。
そうそう。その角度キープ。いいわ。イケメンがスマホにいっぱい。
なあ姉さん。
え？後ろから優しく抱きしめて耳元でなんかささやいて。
なんだそれ。
ただのペナルティーよ。
甘えた。
A brief flashback shows a young Kirito and Yume before they were formally in a relationship with each other. It was a moment at night, which MC cherishes a lot. As he reads a book on the couch in their living room, Yume tells MC to accompany her in buying a present for their mom for Mother's Day. Yume claims it'd be less awkward if they both gave it to her, and they could split the cost. MC figures the latter reason is the true reason for her request and refuses, as he wants to spend his Sunday in peace. Seemingly unfazed by the response, Yume accepts MC's refusal and walks off only to return later all dolled up, causing Kirito to gawk at her, which breaks the rules they follow.
あら、おかしいわね。おめかししただけのただの義理の兄弟にそんなに見とれるなんて完全にアウトね。弟くん、おかわいいこと。
Later, they ride on the subway train and get into an awkward position with each other because of the bumpy ride. They decide to stay in that position mainly because they'd end up in it again when the train gets bumpy once again.
揺れるたびにこうなるんだから楽な姿勢でいればいいでしょ。
わかった。
At the shopping mall, they looks at the kitchenware for sale. Ultimately, they decide to buy their mother a bouquet of carnations. That afternoon, Yume catches MC paying his respects to his mother's altar. MC notices Yume and then she comes to comfort him.
覚えてないんだっけ、お母さんのこと。
物心つく前には亡くなってたからな。顔もこの写真くらいでしか知らない。
そう。
何してるんだ？
優しくしてあげてるの。今日は私がお姉ちゃんだし。
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll make the next part after this video hits 200 views. Meanwhile, enjoy our other contents posted in our channel and suggest what new Wincest anime shows you want us to recap. Until then, stay safe.